African government and politics is about the self-perpetuation of the African and Nigerian political elite. The people that are fully in charge are those that have grabbed power willy-nilly. Politics is ruthless garden of possibilities. Whichever way you look at it, there's no religion in politics.
The battle between a godson and a godfather in Rivers State is no longer news in Nigeria. And that's the struggle between Fubara, the current governor of Rivers State, and the immediate past governor, Wike. It's been topping the headlines of news across the nation. And with me on set today to talk on this is Mr. Gray Amona. Welcome, sir.
Appreciate it.
Okay, very quick one, sir. So, what's your own perception about this whole thing? Starting from we've seen the different spokesmen come online, say different things about 20 billion monthly, this will be sent, and some countering it, and different speculations. We saw the video footage of the shooting, or spraying of water on the governor and all that. So what's your take? What's your evaluation of this entire saga?
We have to address why and how the problem, exists and also thickens.
Okay.
So the incidents of apparent assault on the person of the governor, those are ingredients of the problem.
Okay.
This problem has always been visited by concerned minds. Professor Debacle Williams talked about sponsorship, in the political system. Honorable Bagbon, who people say is grandiloquent, whether grandiloquent or not, the man always talks about substance. Bagbon talked about, he called it prebendalism, it's sponsorship, sponsoring candidates to get returns.
Yes.
These are issues that are usually factored into the nature of the third world political system. So you have this phenomenon. Elite and group as conceptual frameworks. It is a problem of the elite. The political elite is interested in self-perpetuation. Omafume Onoge said this much.
Okay.
Self-perpetuation is a concern of the Nigerian political elite. That's why you have recycling of political, roles. People, are drafted into different spectra of the participatory system because they belong, they attach, they associate with a generational, nexus in the political system. The political system will never be free of the yoke of the elite. That is why you have this problem of sponsorship. Mr. Gray is sponsored by Mr. Nathaniel. And when Mr. Gray is in that office, Mr. Nathaniel says, you, Mr. Gray, this is what you bring every month as a way of why should the traffic of settlement be that unbroken, unbreakable, and futuristic? That means it is permanent. It is tied to a particular causative problem. And what's the causative problem? The cause-effect relationship between elite participation in the political process and the institutional effect on that political system. The elite one, the self-perpetuation. As you are leaving power, plant a replacement.
Yeah, replacement.
And once the replacement goes the other way, give him the Ambode show.
Yes.
So it's a kind of it's a generic and genetic problem of the Nigerian political class, and it attaches to the way the African plays politics. The African plays politics according to the principle that popularized the Italian statesman Niccolo Machiavelli. The end justifies the means.
Yeah.
Whichever way you look at it, there's no religion in politics. It is a reminder of what George Orwell said in Animal Farm. Say the only good soldier is the dead one. The only good person is the dead one. So that entrenches the principle of concrete, expectations built or factored into political relationships. And what are the concrete expectations? They connect with material values. Then we now recall Harold Laswell. Politics is who gets what, when, and where. Politics is not moralization. Those that are moralizing are those people are trying to say, why is Wike doing this? Why did Tinubu do this? Why did Obamudia do this? You are adopting a very simplistic attitude, a simplistic approach to the problem. The only way you can empiricalize the situation is to agree, even if momentarily or hypothetically, that African government and politics is about the self-perpetuation of the African and Nigerian political elite. And vow it will never end. If anybody tells you it's going to end, the person is sleeping in the shadows. It will always be there.
Okay. So now, having laid that foundation that it's not something that we can actually do without.
Yes.
Now, does that mean we have to bear the burden in such drastic and humiliating way? Because if we were to address that as a fact, we don't see that kind of relationship and yoke on. We rather didn't see that on the past governor Wike from Amechi. As a matter of fact, it was as if he earned his own freedom by force, and there was nothing Amechi could do to him. So if Fubara is having, like you said, the ingredients.
Yes.
You've talked about the foundation, and let us dwell on the ingredient, because the ingredients that affect all of us.
Yes.
That affect the citizens of River State. The people of Rivers are trying to encourage Fubara to say, fight your right, fight your way. We are strongly behind you. The House of House Assembly cannot do anything to you. All you need to do, just do this, do that, do that. Even though, yes, the House Assembly can. And from a video footage I watched, Fubara said, he doesn't mind being impeached, but if he's being impeached unlawfully, that he would fight. Those were the exact words, that he would not just let go. And if he's going to fight, who is he fighting? He's fighting his boss.
Yes.
He's fighting his boss.
Yes.
So there's a saying that evil prevail when good men do nothing. So in as much as the standard is the evil standard, don't you think that at some point the good men have to do something so that gradually the liberation will start gaining consciousness in the minds of each and every one of us? Because now I want us to dwell on the ingredients of this foundation that you just laid.
Yes.
The reality now, bring this amount of money for me monthly out of the monthly allocation that comes to the state.
Yes.
He's saying, I will do this, but I don't think I can continue anymore. All right, you appoint all his commissioners, all his cabinet members, you handpick everyone, gave to him, even including his ADC, or what they call those, they are his chief of security or something.
Yeah, chief of staff.
Chief of staff.
Yes.
You also gave him his chief of staff. So he's basically naked here.
Yes.
Do you understand? So don't you think it's right for him to cry out the way he's doing, and the fact that the people of Rivers State and Nigerians at large are supporting him?
Yes.
What do you have to say about that?
There's one phrase that later Professor Chika Onwachi, who was Director General of Nigerian Institute of International Affairs and the Blues of Man, a scholar, intellectual. He talked about a dichotomy in political action. The dichotomy between value and fact. That is a problem that confronts us. Value connects to the reaction of River State body politic. Oh, fight back. Could they last the distance? They could not. So it is only a purely moralistic issue to maintain an attitude of principled resistance to perceived tyrannical or dictatorial behavior. That is purely a principled stand. But how do you now measure that stand against the remorseless current of fact? After Fubara's and River State, all the reaction, what happened at the end of the day? Where did they end up? You remember? They ended up at where? Aso Rock. And what happened? There was a shaking of hands now.
Yes,
there was
they reconciled, yes.
Okay, you just use the word.
They reconciled, yes.
That reconciliation took place at whose instance? The primary unit in elite politics, the presidency. Who ordered people to quickly go and intervene? Yes, we acknowledge that kind of crisis management intelligence by Tinubu. Buhari never showed that kind of thing. If it was Buhari would have remained phlegmatic and withdrawn, like the way a billionaire, there was an earthquake and didn't know that there was an earthquake. He said they should just bring him down. That kind of a detachment, from reality. Yeah. Tinubu quickly intervened. And look at the kind of intervention. Cross-fertilization of ideas. It's not matter of the party. PDP elders were drafted. Even though the PDP elders conducted themselves in the manner of wet chickens, without showing any kind of bold, courageous resistance to Wike, at the end of the day, what happened? While the Nigerian political elite has historically, generationally, and institutionally armed itself to the teeth. If Onoge was alive today, Onega will have regretted. So no, it's like this experiment of October 1 at TCC was a fatal error because it was meant to empower a small fraction of the population. The Nigerian political elite has amassed so much arsenal at the expense of truth, at the expense of values, at the expense of the population. So there will be more Wike versus Fubaras.
More to come.
There will be more to come.
As a matter of fact, there are actually more. But just not as loud as this. Douglas
said that whichever way you look at it, the reality of the state is that it is a problem-solving device. Look at that phrase, problem-solving device. What kind of problem is it solving? It is solving practical problems, not problems of a moralistic or theological nature. No! Politics is ruthless garden of possibilities. It will continue to come. Why do you think Fiscal Mobilization Commission is powerless when it comes to fixing the allowances of National Assembly members? Because they are just spectators. The people that are fully in charge are those that have grabbed power willy-nilly.
Wow.
That's it.
What's your final conclusion on this?
My final conclusion is that, the rest of the population is just purely spectatorial. Look at the reaction of Rivers people. Very commendable. But beyond the commendation, what happened? They were defeated, from when the helicopters, came from Aso Rock to land in an imaginary Port Harcourt where handshake had already taken place. That handshake was kind of capitulation on the part of Fubara. That's the truth. But that is when we want to be moralistic. Saint Fubara had no choice but to, capitulate because he has to continue in office.
Yes.
To remain in office to 2027, he has to actually play the game. By the rules. Rules do not connect with morality, but they connect with Machiavellian definition of politics by the Nigerian political elite.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Gray Amona. I didn't see that coming. All right, I was hoping that it was going to come from the angle of the general masses with all the sentiments and the emotions and all, but you've given us a very deep enlightenment to what is really at stake here. All right, and it's still a very far cry, and we are hoping that sooner than later, we would see a change in the politics in Nigeria, or basically in Africa at large, so we could start getting some credible and accountable leaders in office without having any string attached to their necks, compelling them to do the bidding of their slave masters. Okay, so this is as much as we can take for this episode. Don't forget to like, share, drop your comments, and subscribe. But most importantly, please do click on the notification button to get similar prompt updates on Noble TV Live. My name is Valentine Agogo, and I've been on set with Mr. Gray Amona.